why did you leave your cozy and comfortable job at Make My Trip and decide to start your own startup?
There was always one aspiration to do something on your own.
But then at what point does one decide and gather that courage?
The day you have that 1000 days capital in your hand, and that's where you say that, okay, now is the right time. Feel free, take risk.
Is that customer obsession enough to build $1 million business?
I think that's the only obsession you need. काम 19 हो सकता है पर आदमी 20 होना चाहिए.
What is a success for you? Does a founder work for money?
If I say no, then I'll be lying.
What are the top 3 travel destinations in India? What would your advice be to a 20-year-old who wants to become financially wealthy?
There are two things. One is that you
Start करने से पहले अंशु, quickly tell me कि why did you leave your cozy and comfortable job at Make My Trip and decide to start your own startup, Holiday Tribe?
going back to the days when I was with Make My Trip, there was always one aspiration to do something on our own. There was always something which was happening at a back end. But then COVID happened. There were things which were beyond control. And probably that's where we decided that, okay, this is the right time because market was definitely going to bounce back with a lot of, people, those who couldn't travel with these last 2-3 years. So we said ki this is the right time. When market will come back, we will be ready with the product and then we can go all out. So that's how we left our cozy jobs and then we decided to pursue this.
But I want to ask you on a deeper level, from understanding point of view of let's say a male, ठीक है, जब हम 25-26 साल के होते हैं, we work for money to get the most amount of money we can make. जब हमें जॉब मिल जाती है, we work towards our goal, making money. But then at what point does one decide and gather that courage कि I can leave this job and go back to ground zero and start something again from scratch?
I think there are a couple of factors, Sanskar, always in deciding this entrepreneurial journey. One is the support from your spouse. That is super critical, right? That me and Chirag, we both always, mention that this is something which is paramount in starting, right? That's one thing. Another one is the financial stability, which you probably gained. And then you always worked, then you have this in your mind that you want to do something and you know that, okay, there's a 1000 days rule, to start a business, to stabilize a business, right? And the day you have that 1000 days capital in your hand, and that's where you say, okay, now is the right time to take that punt, go out and start what you want to do. So and then you start, it's like a dream which you want to fulfill. So these are a couple of things which you should have before you start.
Right. So for a 20-year-old Anshu, tell me 3 key insights that you have gathered over your experience of working with these companies and then starting your own business.
3 key insights from perspective
of making money, of doing a job, of your life basically, जो आप बताना चाहोगे अपने younger self को. अगर आप, if you could go back to 20 years of age, तो आप क्या 3 चीज़ें बताना चाहोगे?
I think the first and the foremost is that you live your dream, what you want to do, right? Feel free, take risk. I mean that's so we are always running after bread and butter, the basics of life, right? We shouldn't be doing that. We should do what we really like. You do what makes you happy, right? And then whatever you do with wholeheartedly and do your best at it. These are the few things which you should be doing.
Talking about your startup, how do you build a company, a brand which customers love?
So customers usually, it's not a transaction. So the day you want your brand to be loved, this cannot be a transaction only, right? That starts where consumer had a great experience, on ground while experiencing your product. So the day you stop considering your consumer as a transaction, that's where you start building a better experience. And the day you build a better experience, you deliver more than their expectation. That's where the consumer starts loving your brand. And usually, if you look at brands like us, we really walk the talk. Means, if you look at our consumer journey, it's super. Look at our consumer feedback. We are 4.8 plus rated with close to 500 reviews on Google, right? So it's a super experience which people have given such reviews to us. If you look at the number of followers, we have close to 2.5 lakh followers now on Instagram, right? With a super good engagement on the page, right? Which clearly says the consumer experience which we are giving, starting from someone coming on the page, consuming our content, till the time they are buying that product from us and experiencing that product on ground. So that's where people start loving the brand.
So say I'm a 20-year-old in today's time. I want to start a business and scale it to a point wherein every other Indian household knows my name. So you are saying that I have to focus on getting that experience to them, loving the customer myself first, and then they will reciprocate that love towards my brand.
It's exactly same. Like the first and the foremost thing. So, for example, in our case, when we thought of this company, there was a clear gap of a scalable holiday experience, right? And why we say scalable holiday experience? Because the most of the bigger brands, they always focus on scaling the business, and that's when you start scaling, you probably the consumer becomes a transaction for you, right? And when we say we want to make a scalable holiday experience, the customer delight is the north star for us. That's where we say that the consumer delight is everything, right? And that's where the thought process and the DNA of the organization starts building, right? So we say that, okay, everything, when you think about the product, when you think about operations, when you think about the people, the core team, everything should be in the direction of consumer delight. And then consumers reciprocates and says, okay, I got a real good experience and I really love the brand.
But let's go deeper into it. Like, we can talk about ki love the customer and then they'll love you. But how do I, as a founder, show the love towards my customer? How do I make them feel ki my brand cares for you? What are some actions I can follow for that?
Okay, so this starts from the beginning, So, for example, in our journey, we never start that you want to go to a destination. We always starts from a holiday mood, right? Which says that my preference is either a beach or a mountain or a train journey or anything, or an adventure, a luxury, whatever, right? So we always say that, okay, how you want your holiday to look like, right? We might have to work a little harder to identify your right choice, but we really want to give you a right product, right? So we will work hard towards giving you multiple options or options more suitable to your choice, right? That starts from there, right? And then once you're on ground, if I deliver what exactly I committed you, that's my job. That's a transaction. That's where we say that it has to be more than transaction. So I given you what you booked is a transaction. But how am I making you feel special there? So if it's a honeymoon, when you land on ground, your spouse and both of you are getting treated in a different way. You're getting a welcome garlanding. When you reach your hotel, someone is delivering you a cake. The small things, but creating a differential experience in your mind. That's how we love our consumer, right? And then someone in touch with you, ensuring that whatever you should get as a consumer of Holiday Tribe is getting delivered. So someone at a back end is taking care of everything what you are receiving at a front end. So that's how we love. So the whole sales team is aligned that to give you a right product. Then the operations team is aligned that you will get more than what we have committed, more than your expectations, right? And that's how crazy the whole team is about consumer.
Is that customer obsession enough to build $1 million business?
I think that's the only obsession you need to build $1 million. The only thing, it's a consumer industry, Sanskar. The only obsession you need to have is right understanding of a consumer and delivering the right product to them, right? The consumer obsession is the only thing which you need, right? And then you build everything around it. So for example, in our case, the product is very emotional purchase, right? When you're traveling with your family, for example, it's an emotional purchase. You really want to take your family out. You don't want to give them any stress on ground. You want to plan right experiences for them. It's very emotional purchase. Now, when it's an emotional purchase, what is the most important thing for me? To deliver you on these emotions.
वो ट्रस्ट ब्रेक नहीं होना चाहिए.
The trust, right? So that's where we start. That the consumer is paramount. We are very obsessive about consumer, and that's enough to build $1 million business, definitely. And after this obsession, to scale, you have to have a right approach of technology in it, because it's a emotional purchase. So right amount of technology and right amount of human intervention, that is what you need to have. Sorry. So that's what we are trying to build. So there is a technology to support my team on ground to deliver that right experience. But at the same time, when consumer is interacting, it's not a technology which is interacting. So there is no chatbot which is answering. So there might be a chatbot answering your regular questions, but when you really need an assistant, there is someone. So you, at your back end, you have this trust that there is someone who can solve my problems.
So you are a travel tech firm, and अभी आपने बोला कि there is technology, AI. So I want to know कि what is the intervention of AI as compared to humans? Because end of the day, travel is a very personal experience. You rightly mentioned. So how do you manage that whole process?
Okay, so what we and how people should be looking at technology, and that's how we at Holiday Tribe look at technology. Technology is to empower people to work more efficiently, Sanskar, right? So from a consumer side, so even if you look at today, people are more comfortable speaking to a human being than an AI bot, right? They still want that someone should be chatting them rather than an AI bot giving them answers, right? But at the same time, to scale business, these are the key parameters which you have to implement. So what we believe, we want to integrate right amount of technology to scale the business to make our people efficient, right? So if there is no burning concern today, if you just want your holiday vouchers to be resent, it's simple. You just type, my bot will send it across to you. But at the same time, if you are stuck on ground, right, wherein you really need someone to come and pick you up, or you need some human intervention, then someone from my operations team will immediately help you, right? So where we need to use technology, we use technology. Where we need to use humans, we use humans. So the right amount of technology. So wherever there is a direct consumer facing things where they need human intervention, we provide human intervention. But most of the things at a back end is done by technology. So if my booking needs to be done at a back end where there is no consumer interaction happening, my system does it automatically. There is no human which is going at a back end, putting your name, putting dates. Everything is done by my system, right? So the technology is there. But if the same guy need to speak to consumer, there is someone who will speak to consumer to give that personalized touch, to give them that trust that there is someone. So when you're traveling, there's a lot of anxiety. When you're traveling to a newer destination, right? People travel once in a year, or probably few people, those who have more affordability, they might travel twice in a year. But every time you're traveling to a newer destination, there might be a language barrier, right? So when you travel to a newer destination, you are anxious. And how we solve that anxiety to giving you that trust that there is someone.
Anshu, give me 3 pieces of advice for a 20-year-old today, how they can build their founding teams for their businesses.
I think this is the most critical part of building a business, building your core team, right? So there is a quote from one of the stand-up that काम 19 हो सकता है पर आदमी 20 होना चाहिए, and you must be knowing, you know. So we follow the same philosophy, कि your intent has to be right. You should be aligned with the vision of the company, right? So vision is one thing which you should, so if I want to build an organization which is very consumer focused, and that's my vision, and that's how we want to grow, right? So vision is something which has to be aligned. Right skill set of the people means they should have etiquette skills or a learning capability of that skill. So if you have a right attitude to learn, so right attitude with the people. So right attitude aligned with your vision are the two things which we really look into people when we, and building a core team, right? And then this core team has the DNA of what you want to build, right? So these are the few things which we always look in, and that's how we build our core team, wherein this team delivers everything what we want today. So while a lot of people will focus on different products, might be consumer, but we were very, very focused on building our core team with these few smaller key qualities.
How does one find a co-founder for their startups, for their business?
Okay, so there are two things which you have to have if you are really looking for a co-founder, which one is the trust, right? And the second one is a complementary skill set, right? And I'll elaborate on it. When you talk about trust, you will notice that there are a lot of this culture of having a co-founder in Western world. There's a lot of culture. Well, when you come to India, traditionally, if you speak to anyone, then say the partnerships fails in Indian market. Have you ever given a thought why? Because there is a lack of trust. So there is one very famous lecturer from the top tier 1 institute, and once I met in my last assignment post Make My Trip. Between Make My Trip and Holiday Try, I did another assignment as a co-founder. And that's where I was also featured on Shark Tank that time, Shark Tank season 2. And when we were in talks, this guy said that there's a professor who is our mentor, and he said that if we want to bring a co-founder, I have to have a trust in them, similarly like I have a trust in my brother. And I said, okay. And the reason is I should be able to trust in terms of finances, in terms of decision making, or any key decision which he is taking. And there should not be any doubt. There might be a mistake, which is fair, but I should never doubt. And that's the core foundation of any partnership. So that's where most of the time we are missing as a society, where we are not able to trust the partners. So that is paramount. Another one is a complementary skill set. So if me and my partner has a same skill set, we might not be able to add value in a long term to the business. So we have to have a complementary skills to grow the business. So if I am good at sales, my partner has to be really good in something else. So both modules can be operated or scaled up parallelly, and we are not dependent on anyone else. And otherwise, whatever is missing, we can always hire the talent. So these are two paramount things. One is complementary skill set and trust.
How did you get the idea for starting Holiday Tribe?
So with the deep understanding of 2 decades in the industry, we could clearly see a gap. So either someone is very focused on experience, or someone is very focused on transactions, right? We wanted to build a brand, a scalable holiday experience brand with the right amount of technology and a human intervention, right? Which gives you a great experience. So that's where we clearly saw a gap, that the bigger brands are very, very focused on transactions, while the smaller brands or the smaller companies are focused on experience, but they don't know how to scale the business. They don't understand the marketing, the technology. So that's where we clearly saw that no one is working towards making a brand, the scalable holiday experience brand. And that's how the Holiday Tribe idea came up.
इनिशियली ना आपने बोला था कि फॉर अ गाय टू लीव हिज जॉब एंड स्टार्ट समथिंग फ्रॉम ग्राउंड जीरो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है टू हैव अ सपोर्टिंग स्पाउस. सो टेल मी कि लेट्स से देयर इज अ 24-year-old listening to us. What can they keep in mind when they are finally decided to get married, and who to get married to? If you can share some thoughts on that.
Probably it might be a very very difficult question to no, I think it's very difficult for anyone to identify a spouse who will at an early stage identify a spouse, that whether she will be supportive or she or he will be supported in a long journey, and your decision to marry cannot be only this, right? There are multiple factors to. So I think on that side, probably you will go with your instinct. Whatever wherever you feel more comfortable, wherever you feel that your vibes are matching, you should go with it. And I'm sure if your decision is right, that's one relationship where people just support blindly to everything which makes you happy. So find someone who is always supporting your happiness, who is happy in making you happy.
Actually, I was talking to a billionaire friend of mine, and not a friend, and I respect him a lot. So he told me, Sanskar, get married early. Don't make that mistake कि delay मत करो. Find a girl, 26, 27, 28 में get married. Because then you can focus on your business, then you can focus on other important aspects with somebody that you have by your side. So, like, आप क्या कहोगे इस पे?
I think I 100% agree with that thought. I got married very early. I was 26 when I got married, right? And the idea was that there is always a time, and as you said, that initially you are very busy. From 24 to 30th, you are building your career. You are identifying what is right fit for you, what exactly you are liking, right? At the same time, if you have someone along your side, with whom you can discuss, you can explore, it's always a good idea. And then at a later part of the life, you also have enough time when you have already built your career, when you already earned money, your kids and everyone else, you still have time, you still have energy to live your life on your terms, right? And you have all the resources to enjoy your life. Then you should have that. Otherwise, if you keep delaying, then everything delays, right? And then by the time you have money, you might not have physical strength to enjoy that, right? So I'll say that someone getting married earlier and still have an entrepreneurial aspiration, I think it's a really good combination, because your spouse will always support in every decision which makes you happy.
Okay, coming back to our topic of discussion at hand. Say I want to plan a trip to Bali, right? So how can Holiday Tribe help me in doing that in the best possible way?
Okay. So I'll first tell you how it is different with us. So you will notice that there's something called holiday mood on our website, right? So our consumer journey not start from whether you want to go to Bali or to Mauritius. Rather, it will start how you are dreaming of your destination. That's where the consumer journey starts. And then you might be reaching out to us from any of the channel, which can be social media, it can be Google, it can be email, it can be a direct phone call on our hunting line, right? It can be any channel you are reaching out. The first response might be from a chatbot immediately. But then one of the destination experts get in touch with you once, right? So and then he will understand your requirement. He will give you few choices that, okay, if you really want to enjoy beach, then why only Bali? Why not Mauritius? Why not Maldives? Making you understand the right product fit for you, right? And from there we will start building. And then once we understand your requirement, then the technology comes into play. Then we have whole supply for the whole globe, coming dynamically on our platform, right?
What do you mean by that?
Okay, so in a holiday there are multiple components, right? So when you look at only flights, when you look only hotels, they are very commoditized products, right? Means, being honest, I can't, if you want to fly Delhi to Mumbai on an Indigo flight, uh, me or any other bigger brand, we can't add any value to your experience other than the booking journey, right? How smooth it is. Otherwise, when you are on ground, I can't make much of the difference. Similarly, unlikely in holidays, you have multiple moving components. So you have flights, you have hotels, you have activities, you have experiences, you have transfers, you have multiple components. And when you combine all these components together, then that makes you a super holiday. And one moving part goes wrong, the whole experience goes for a toss, right? So when we talk about, so once I understand the requirement, every part, every component is connected from a dynamic supply to my system, where my seller can see that, okay, Sanskar want to go to Bali, he want to stay in this XYZ hotel, he want to do these experiences, and if you go, and then he start adding these, and the system automatically gives you a live rate and live availability, right? While if you go to a traditional agent, which is the very fragmented market, so travel within India is very fragmented. So you can see few very big brands, otherwise there are a lot of small time agents. And when you are talking to them, they might be able to recommend you right product. But when they recommend product, and by the time they come back with the pricing and all the details, it might be 24 to 48 hours minimum, right? That much time they will take. While with us, this journey will be only 3 to 5 minutes. Right? So the experience, your experience starts from there when you're talking to someone, and by the time you keep your phone down, you will have something on your WhatsApp that, okay, this is what we spoke, and this is the product which we want to recommend, right? So you have a solution with you in 5 minutes versus 24 to 48 hours journey, right? So this is the whole piece. That's how we work at Holiday Tribe.
So am I right in saying that your moat or your advantage is your system and your data?
Our advantage is system, definitely, and then the technology, right? The processes and the approach to solve it. So how I will summarize the technology, which is empowering you to give the solution quickly, right? And a human intervention to understand the right need of the consumer. So the right amount of technology and human intervention to give you a faster solution and the correct solution, right? So someone coming back to you in 24 hours, you are deciding in next 2 hours. But by the time you went back and you said, okay, I want to book this, your hotel is sold out. What kind of experience you will have? So because you will say that, okay, I already spent 2 days and now you're coming back and telling me it's sold out. Now the journey restarts, right? While I only recommend you what is available. So there is no disappointments, right? So the right amount of technology to ensure that you do not have such disappointments, and the right amount of human intervention to recommend you the right products.
Sir, as a founder, what is a success for you?
The North Star for us is customer delight. So our success 101% depends on the consumer delight, right? So that is like our North Star, where we always look at. So everything starts from consumer delight and finishes at consumer delight. This is our success. When we have super satisfied consumer coming back, this is the success of the model.
Does a founder work for money?
If I say no, then I'll be lying. Right? So definitely we all work for money. The only thing is that the route which we choose, right? So we all have back of the this thought back of our mind that we want to make money. So definitely yes, founders also works for money, but at certain stage we leave that one component behind, and there are different things drives you at different stages, right? So right now for us, it's not about making money. Right now, it's about making this brand. And we know that once we make this brand, the money will follow. So at the different stages of entrepreneurial journey, different things will excite you.
अंशु, मेरा ना एक दोस्त है विक्रम. He's just graduated from college and he has a good job offer, but he's talented and wants to build something on his own. So I want to ask you, from your experience of doing a job as well as running your own company now, आप क्या advise करोगे विक्रम को कि should he go for that job? Should he build that business that he is dreaming of? From keeping in mind कि Vikram is more concerned about what can make him more money, because he comes from a very okay background, तो उसको main है कि पैसे कम अच्छे कमाने हैं उसको. So should he go for that job or go for that business, that fancy business founder tag?
Yeah. So evaluating that idea, Sanskar, is the most important thing. And how you evaluate any idea, right? You identify the market size for it. Then you identify whether the product which I am thinking is a right market fit for it or not. Now you identify there is a market size, my product is a right fit. How much money I need to start that, right? Or my idea is so good that I can go out and I can get an investor today, right? Because as you mentioned that he's from a very humble background and he just want to start. Even if that business demands 10 lakh rupees, whether he has 10 lakh rupees of capital or not, right? Then the right people in that journey, right? Which is the core, right? Who will run that business? Even if he is running, will he need a team? Right. So identifying right people in that journey. So this has to be very, very calculated. And then if everything is okay, then whether he has the right exposure to run that business or not. Okay. Right. To understand the technology, understand the operations of it, understand the sales side of it. So there are multiple components in running a business. Right. And then whether he has this exposure to run it or not. So versus then probably he would like to spend another 1 year with one of the organization in the similar space, understand every component of it and then do it. So if he can, so it cannot be a gut feeling. It has to be a very, very calculated decision. Then he calculates, okay, if I want to do this, these are the components which I need to run or do myself, versus this is where I can get an exposure, do it and then do it. But I will definitely recommend that if he is very sure about the product and the market fit, he should do his own.
So आपने बोला कि evaluate the market, get the right people, and figure out whether you have that initial capital to start that particular business. अगर आपने ये तीन चीज,
initial capital or an investor, right? Who will bank on your idea, right? This is the right approach to calculate which side he should go.
Say a 24-year-old straight out of college find an investor for their idea stage.
So I think in today's world, the social platforms have made it much easier, right? So you can definitely approach. So there are a lot of startup meetings happening, right? Where a startup founder can go and meet a lot of angel investors, venture capitalists. Government of India is running a lot of programs wherein there is an initial funding which is available across different industries, right? If you are very active on LinkedIn, you can connect with people, you can speak to people, you can discuss your idea with the people within the same industry or from some angel investors. So there are multiple platforms which are available for anyone where they can go, they can explore, they can evaluate their idea and then move forward.
You mentioned that your customer experience starts from your social handles, from your Instagram. People come there, they interact with that, then they come to know about HurdleDrive ki karta kya hai essentially, right? So if I want to ask you, if you could give me 3 pieces of advice for a founder with regards to the marketing.
Okay. So identify the right target audience. That's the one thing. So for example, for us, we identified that the people from 30 year of age till 50 year of age is the right TG for us. Okay. Right? So identify the right TG for you. The another one is the right segment. For example, with us, we target more of couples, honeymooners, and then friends and family groups. Right. So that's a right target audience. So identifying the right target audience is one piece. Then very focused marketing campaigns, right? Or SEO, SEM, whatever you are doing, very focused. So focused marketing campaigns, identifying the right target audience. And for example, with us, we are focusing on certain markets right now. So you should not do a carpet bombing. You should identify the right markets for you. So right now,
What's carpet bombing?
so we shouldn't say that okay, we will cater the whole India. It's a huge market, right? So right now we are only targeting, for example, tier 1 cities, right? While we know that there's a huge potential in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, right? But still we are very focused on tier 1 markets. So right now that's what. So very focused target markets, right target audience, and very focused marketing campaigns to target that audience. These are the three key components.
So if you go deeper into it, आपने बोला TG, the segmenting and don't do carpet bombing, right?
Yeah.
तो उसके पीछे thought क्या है आपका? Like जो आपका TG है 30 to 50 year olds वो क्यों है? You're targeting honeymooners वो क्यों है? Like if you can go deeper into that.
Okay, so there are always two segments, Sanskar. One is that someone who want to plan their own holiday, and then they book their flights, hotels, etc. The other segment is who is very anxious. And this anxiety is also coming from a responsibility that, okay, I'm getting married and I have a spouse with me, right? So I'm more anxious about my holiday, right? So this is the same person who would not like to take a chance, or who doesn't want to risk their experience of a honeymoon. So they really want someone to assist. So this is the right target audience. Now coming back to 30 to 50, because initially, as we discussed, that 24 to 30 we are very busy in making money. And from 30 onwards, we realize that we also need to spend this money. So they are the same people, those who really want to spend that money, right? So and then target, because you always have a limited marketing money in your hand, right? And you would also always like to spend that money where you get the highest possible ROI in a shortest possible span. Right, and that's why we say that right now it might only be tier 1, because we want to spend our marketing money where we get the quick returns and the higher ROIs. So this is the reason to target such segments.
Talking about ROI, so like what is your revenue model at Holiday Drive?
So our revenue model is cost plus model.
Okay.
Right, so we try and procure best possible rates, right? So there is a value to the consumer with that. So you don't need to go to 10 different places, check who is offering the best. We does it at our end, and then we add little markup as a service fee, and then we sell it. It's very simple model.
So do you charge a premium for these services?
No, so if at the end, if you look what you are buying, if you would have done this a la carte, buying everything separately versus what you are buying from us, you will be at a benefit.
Okay.
So services comes almost at no cost. So buying a combined bundled package, because there is a bulk buying happening at a back end. So advantage is passed to the consumer. So they always get a benefit in terms of a bundled package, but at the same time, the services, the assistance which they are getting, the expertise which they are getting.
So is bulk buying the only reason for you getting these lower prices, या फिर कुछ और secret deal भी है?
So bulk buying bulk buying is definitely one of the reason, but at the same time there is a different consolidators at a different destinations, which you as a consumer might not know, right? But that consolidator is coming on the platform and giving me supply, right? So I am also fetching the supply which is very specific to that destination. Right, which is very specific to us, or which and the supply which is only for B2B environment, which is not exposed to B2C. So that's why there are multiple components to get that best pricing, and we try and optimize every channel before we supply that rate to the consumer.
Also, as a brand, how do you figure out कि हाउ टू बल्क बाय, लाइक बल्क बाय तो आपने कर लिया, बट किस होटल का पैकेज, किस फ्लाइट का, मतलब हाउ डू यू डिसाइड दैट?
So there is a lot of data, Sanskar. That's an advantage with us, right? When we talk about the right amount of technology, right amount of human intervention, and the right amount of data usage, right? So we have a lot of data which is on the platform, what people are really liking, what people are really buying, right? So there is always a consumer behavior, right? So we know exactly that Indians like this particular location, they like such hotels. So we always try and focus basis the past data which we have, and that's how we are able to create the right product at the right pricing for them.
Also, I feel that in the travel space, Anshu, customer loyalty is very low, because what I feel is कि as a consumer, जो मुझे ₹2 बचाएगा, I'll go to their platform, book my tickets and have my holiday, right? I'll spend more on shopping there. मैं अपना फ्लाइट्स में बचाऊंगा, होटल में सस्ते में रह लूँगा, but I'll spend more on shopping, जो मेरा पर्सनल मानना है. So, like, what do you feel, and how do you, more importantly, make sure कि your customer keeps coming back to you?
Okay, so I'll say yes and no both, and I'll tell you why. Yes, when you are buying a flight ticket. Yes, if you are only buying a hotel in a business city. Yes, because I, as a travel advisor, might not be able to add a lot of value if you're just buying Delhi to Bangalore or Delhi to Singapore, Delhi flight ticket, because eventually the service provider is an airline, and you will get the same services. And that's where we always say that a flight and hotel independently are very commoditized. Right, it's a commodity. You will buy and you will move forward, right? So there is no value which I am adding, but at the same time, I'll say no when it's a holiday, and the reason is that you're pure. It's an emotional purchase. You're buying for an experience, right? And it's a higher transaction value product versus you just buying Delhi Mumbai Delhi ticket. A holiday will cost you much higher, because you will add hotels, you will add flights, you will add experiences, activities, everything together. So you really want to put that money with someone with whom you trust, and that usually that trust gets developed with one of the transactions which you do. And that's where we always say that our data is very different from a regular holiday company. So we already have a 25% plus repeat consumers, Sanskar, which is very, very high in this industry, right? And the only reason is that our North Star is consumer delight. So we differ here that consumer doesn't have a loyalty. In holiday experience space, there are a lot of different companies, those who enjoy such, repeat. So there is definitely a consumer loyalty in a holiday experience space.
Also, on the topic of holidays and everything, what are the top 3 travel destinations in India?
Within India, I'll say Kashmir is definitely one of the biggest destination right now. Then northeastern side has picked up really well in the last 5 years. And when we say northeastern side, means a Sikkim or Arunachal or Mizoram, Assam. They have picked up really well. And then Goa remains one of the top beach destination for us. There are some hiccups, but still this is one of the top beach destination within India. So these are 3. And then if I go further than more than 3, then you can also add Andamans. The connectivity to Andamans has become better. The hotels are better now. Earlier there was an infra challenge, but now it's sorted.
So, what does these destinations tell you about the Indian consumer? Why are these destinations popular?
So we believe that when you travel, a lot of people say that it has to be home away from home, but we disagree. We say that if it's another home, then why will you travel? You rather stay at home, right? So it's always that people want to see something which is different, Sanskar. So Kashmir has become very, very popular because of multiple reasons, and one of them is the snowfall which it gets. And it was very, very unexplored from last 10 years. So there is a lot of pent up demand that, okay, people couldn't travel in last 20-25 years, so everyone just want to travel to Kashmir, right? So snowfall, beautiful landscape, that has become a USP. And then Goa, definitely, the good nightlife, beautiful beaches in the southern part of Goa, um, and good activities in northern side of Goa. So that makes Goa very, very popular. And then again, if you really want to explore beaches, but at the same time you don't want hustle bustle of Goa, then Andaman is a beautiful option, right? So you still have very unexplored islands in Andamans. So that's making it very, very popular. For northeastern side, again, beautiful landscape, and lot of word of mouth happening from last probably a decade, since the government is also pushing northeastern side for tourism. And then there's a lot of infrastructure which is getting developed on that side. So these are the primary reasons. The connectivity is getting better. So these are the primary reasons these destinations are picking up very well.
Coming back, Anshu, about your journey, you left Make My Trip, right? So you are a wise man. You must have had some thought over it, and you must have seen some gap, some opportunity of building your own business holiday tribe, right? So if I were to ask you, how will you build a big brand here? How will you build a big business here?
So building about a big brand, so we are very, very tech focused. Sanskar, what we strongly believe that there, to scale or to build a million or a $1 billion business, there has to be a technology which is attached to it, and then the right approach to create a demand generation, right? So you should be able to create a good demand, which is and then technology to support to fulfill that demand, and the right amount of supply for it. And then because this is a very emotional purchase business, so there's a right amount of human intervention in it, right? And that's our thought of building this as a $1 billion business. So right amount of tech, uh, right demand generation, and the supply to fulfill that, and then human intervention to create the super good holiday experience. So I'll tell you one story regarding consumer delight. So when we say we talked about consumer delight a lot. So in my last 2 decades of experience, Sanskar, it never happened. That someone had a really super experience, came back, and sent a gift to my operations team.
Okay.
And not a regular gift. One very expensive wallet they purchased.
Okay.
They came back. They couriered it to someone who in customer success, said that we never thought that our holiday will be like this, and we really want to thank you. We worked with organizations at a scale where we did thousands of transactions, but it never happened even a single day. So we really walked the talk that it's not that we are saying this, it's really happening on ground. Another story I would really like to say that there are a lot of people, those who say that, okay, I booked my flights and my other arrangements has been taken care of, but our DNA is to assist people, to ensure that people are always feel confident that there is someone to back it up. And we had one of the client who booked their flights themselves. We were not taking care of flights, but they got stuck somewhere with the airlines. The team came into picture immediately, and they did best possible what they could. They arranged alternate flights. They ensured that their holiday goes as per plan. Can you imagine this particular customer traveled 4th time with us in last 2 years, right? And when you ask me what is our idea of success, this is our idea of success, that someone coming back 4th time and trusting us that when I'm booking with Holiday Tribe, everything will be taken care. So this is our idea of success.
Also, Anshu, I see कि in the recent past, the trend of traveling internationally has picked up very much because I feel कि Gen Z का spending power बढ़ा है. They have learned कि social media पे likes लेने के लिए you have to go to these places, these holiday places and get these pictures. So if I were to ask you, with your experience and data at Holiday Tribe, what are the top 3 travel destinations for international travel?
So definitely, I 100% agree with you, Sanskar. There is definitely a trend wherein people want to go more international. Highlighting that trip on social media is also a trend, right? But there are multiple reasons for international becoming more popular. One is that the the product which you get on ground, the activities, the experience you get. That's one thing, and the accessibility of India, which is getting better and better. With our airlines like Indigo or Air India launching newer routes every few months, there is a new connection which is happening, right? So the destinations are becoming more accessible to the consumer, right? So for example, in last 1 year, Indigo has launched multiple flights to CIS countries. They are now directly connected to Azerbaijan, for example. We are connected to Georgia now directly, right? Earlier, we were taking, stopover flights. So it was much difficult, much expensive to reach these destinations. But today, if you look, these destinations are trending because of the accessibility. So our accessibility is getting better. The experiences in international destinations are better, right? And that's why the newer generation, or even the travelers which have already covered multiple domestic destinations, want to now explore international destinations. Now, if you talk about the most traveled destinations, so definitely Europe. The Western Europe and the Central Europe remains one of the top, long haul destination where people are spending more time in flight and then exploring a destination. Otherwise, Southeast Asia, especially Thailand, Singapore, are very very old and very popular with Indians. And then the Middle East destination like Dubai, Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi is picking up really fast, right? In last 5 years, the number of nights Indians are spending in Abu Dhabi is super good. The kind of activities, the number of attractions they are building, adding every year is super. And then the destinations are like Qatar and Oman from Middle East are also picking up. So there are newer destinations, better connectivity happening every month, every quarter. And Indians are really hungry to travel, and that's why we have a beautiful campaign called Holiday Hungry, which is live right now on our Insta page. So newer destination, better accessibility, good activities on ground is making international travel really lucrative for Indians.
Summing this conversation up, apart from travel, keeping it aside, if I were to ask you, what would your advice be to a 20-year-old who wants to become financially wealthy?
20-year-old to become financial wealthy? Difficult one, huh? I have to think, Sanskar. I can't think. 20 साल के बच्चों को कैसे बताऊँ?
Your learnings over the years, like what you have learned about life, that you feel कि एक 20 साल के बंदे को भी नहीं पता होती हैं and you want to tell them.
That's what I'm thinking. कि 20 साल में मैं कैसे सोचता था. और okay, so the advice which I would like to give to a 20-year-old, there are two things. One is that you continuously keep learning what will be the future of any entrepreneur journey or for your career. You keep learning. At the same time, the right amount of investments which you keep building, for the time when you really want to pursue that journey, right? So to ensure that you have the capital, right? So we talked about the capital to start that business. Usually the younger generation now is missing that to generating that capital and the wealth. So there is a difference between a rich and wealthy. So creating that wealth by right investments for the time when you really want to pursue that, and gives you a lot of confidence in it.
That's a very good advice to start investing early. Perfect. On that note, thank you so much, Anshu, for coming here, for sharing your experience. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Sanskar. Thanks for having me here. Thanks a lot. Pleasure.